Honda abandoned the ride-in sport four-wheeled segment that they created when they discontinued the Pilot 400 after 1990. 29 years later, in 2019, Honda made their much-anticipated debut into the sport side-by-side segment with the release of the 64-inch wide Talon 1000X and 68.1-inch wide Talon 1000R. Both agile machines. The X was more focused on tighter to intermediate trails, with the R model more focused on wide open spaces and bigger hits. Both machines were powered by a pumped-up version of the 999cc parallel twin-cylinder engine used in Honda's Pioneer 1000 recreational utility machine, with the top end originally borrowed from the Africa Twin motorcycle. The engines produce a somewhat modest 104 horsepower. Honda's electronically controlled dual-clutch transmission features two forward ranges, with a 6-speed gearbox and reverse, featuring both automatic and manual modes controlled by electronic paddle shifters. The broad range of gearing found in the transmission and broad power band of the engine allow the Talons to work well in almost any environment. Immediately following the release of their two-seat models, Honda released their first four-seat models, the Talon X4 and Talon X4 Fox Live Valve Edition, featuring computer-controlled suspension for 2020. By starting with a 64-inch wide four-seat machine, Honda brought a car to market that worked well almost everywhere. Testing both the two- and four-seat models over the past few years, Honda's reputation for build quality and attention to detail has certainly been upheld. Temporarily slowed by the global pandemic, the Honda Talons remain mostly unchanged except for a few mechanical updates in 2022. For 2023, Honda is back offering their fourth new sports side-by-side model in as many years as they've been in this segment, giving them the fastest growing line of sports side-by-sides from a Japanese manufacturer. For 23, the 64-inch wide Talon 1000 X4 is joined by the 68.1-inch wide Talon 1000R4. It adds a bit more width, wheelbase, and suspension travel to Honda's four-seat platform for enhanced performance in wide-open terrain, along with receiving key updates that were found across the entire Honda Talon R lineup to enhance their agility on tight trails. To test the new Talon R4, Honda flew members of the media to Mid-America Outdoors, located in Jay, Oklahoma. This off-road resort in paradise features an entertainment complex, cabins on site, a general store, a pool with a lazy river, miles of off-road trails, a short course designed by Travis Pastrana, an RC car track, and there's more being developed all the time. While there, we were given 2 days of testing along with 2 ride-along sessions with Honda factory side-by-side racers. The first on a short course in a stock Talon 1000 X4 where we could experience its full performance potential. The other was on the trails, in a fully modified Honda Talon built for racing in Baja. UTV On Demand's first test of the 2023 Honda Talon 1000R4 was made possible by Dirt Commander 2.0 tires from GBC, a bold redesign of the original, offering 8-ply radial construction with enhanced performance and durability in all conditions. Redesigned tread blocks flex more and improve cleanout. Acceleration and braking are improved with their square profile, putting more tread in contact with the ground. Elongated shoulder knobs provide enhanced protection and grip for powering through corners and obstacles with confidence. Learn more at gbctires.com. Maxima side-by-side engine oil. An ester-based full synthetic oil blended with a unique balance of surface-active, anti-wear, and extreme pressure additives to ensure smooth, trouble-free operation under extended periods of use. Lower operating temperatures increase horsepower and keep your engine running clean. With Maxima side-by-side synthetic oil, the only oil formulated specifically for your high-performance UTV. Planet Side-by-Side makes upgrading your ride fast and affordable with their price match guarantee and free shipping on orders over $99. A leader in wheel and tire packages, they stock System 3, Maxxis, ITP, Fuel, Method Race wheels, and more. Planet Side-by-Side serves your off-road audio needs with brands like Wet Sounds, SSV Works, and Rockford Fosgate. For all your side-by-side needs with no interest financing available, visit planetsidebyside.com.
Hi, I'm Chad Raymond. I'm with Honda PSP Development Side. I'm project manager on this Talon project right here. This is the 1000R4 we're releasing here at Oklahoma Mid-America Outdoors facility. So yeah, a little refresher from the model year 22, the 1000X4. We updated the front fascia, new styling. We really relocated the meter. We put actually larger paddles as well on the vehicle. This model here is our 23, and it's incorporating all those new changes from the 22. So yeah, we have the 1004R here. This was based on the 1004X. We made some chassis changes to this vehicle. First, it's the R type, so we've actually widened it up by 4 inches. Also, we actually changed up the A-arm geometry to help make a tighter turning radius, as well as some steering rack changes.
Honda incorporated the tighter turning steering rack from the X models into the R models for 23. The geometry of the dual A-arm front end is shared between the 1000R4 and the two-seat 1000R. The R's A-arms were redesigned for 2023 to bring the front wheels back, shortening the overall wheelbase of the two-seat car by 2.7 inches. As a result, the R4's 118.7-inch wheelbase is only 2.3 inches longer than the 1000X4. Much of its difference in length is made up by the longer 4-link trailing arm rear end. At 68.1 inches in width, the R model sits 4.1 inches wider than the X. Rolling on the same 28 by 9 by 15 inch front and 28 by 11 by 15 inch rear tires as the X4, the R4's ground clearance only increases slightly from 12.8 to 13.2 inches.
Another big change point is the EPS. It's got more torque assist, about 87%. It's got return to center. The suspension has been all retuned. The DF and the spring rate's been all changed to accommodate this vehicle's weight and having it loaded up with 4 people in it. It's got about 18 inches of travel in the front. Moving to the rear, we did some similar changes to the trailing arms. We made sure it can withstand the loads it's seeing out there in the terrain for this model. Rear travel on this about 20 inches.
With 17.7 inches of front suspension travel, the R4 delivers 3.3 inches more suspension travel up front than the X4. The R4 delivers 21.1 inches of suspension travel out back, 5 inches more than the X4.
Yeah, so when we started this development for the 1004R, we focused on making it premium. So for this vehicle, we focused on just applying the live valve system from Fox.
Fox Live Valve ECU controls compression damping on the fly. It examines the vehicle's speed, engine RPMs, throttle inputs, steering and braking, and a 5-axis inertia measuring device, making changes to compression damping up to 200 times per second.
The system has 2 modes. It's got the normal and the sport still. The normal, you use for more that low speed, comfort riding. For the sport, use that for like more high speed, aggressive driving. It keeps the vehicle up off the ground, helps it from bottoming out. Yeah, so like all other Talon models, we have a sway bar on those models. This one also has a sway bar on the rear. Main reason is, we want to make sure it has some good roll control and stability and handling. Yeah, so I'd like to touch on the engine a little bit. So this is our original engine that we released back in 2019 in the Talons. It's proven, it's very durable and reliable, get you home at the end of the day. All right, so this engine here, it features 999 cc's. It pumps out about 104 horsepower.
The fuel-injected parallel twin-cylinder engine features Honda's Unicam design and 4 valves per cylinder. A 270-degree firing order moves the firing of the pistons closer together to help maximize torque and traction.
So this has got the Honda's proven dual clutch transmission. Based on some customer feedback, back in 22, we made some calibration change to the DCT to smooth out that initial throttle to help in those technical situations. It's a 6-speed with reverse, still featuring a high and low range. It offers automatic and manual mode. That manual mode is controlled by paddle shifters.
The transmission features 2 auto shift modes, normal and sport. In normal mode, a computer measures throttle position and input, speed, RPMs, and braking to determine whether you're driving aggressively or casually and tries to adjust accordingly. Sport mode shifts up and down at a higher RPM, allowing the engine to rev higher longer before shifting.
For 23, we opened up the sport mode to work with low range, and that benefits in those steeper hill climbs with a moderate to heavy load. The benefit for sport mode for the DCT, it gives you more drive force, more response, it holds those RPMs a little longer. Yeah, so the Honda Talon offers 2 drive modes, 2-wheel drive and I-4-wheel drive. I-4-wheel drive is our electronic brake system coupled with our limited front differential. How that system works is it applies brake pressure to the tire that's spinning and transfers it to the tire that's getting traction.
Braking power is provided by 4-wheel hydraulic disc brakes with 250mm rotors at all 4 corners. Dual piston calipers are used up front, with single piston calipers used out back. In 2-wheel drive, Honda's electronic brake force distribution system is designed to optimize braking forces front to rear for changing load conditions.
So yeah, let's take a look at the interior. First, starting on the outside, as you can see, we got full coverage doors front and rear. It's a change point for 23. Let's step inside. It's still featuring the sport bucketed seats with 3-point seat belt. It's got the relocated meter that was introduced in 22. It also has a new switch panel up here for better integration for accessories. To get the driver comfortable in the Talon, we offer a full tilting steering wheel, also a sliding driver's seat. So yeah, touching on the switches, so we got our lights over here. The next switch over here is our live valve system. This is our sport in normal mode. Moving to the center here, this is our I-4-wheel drive and our 2-wheel drive switch. Next one over is our hill start assist with our launch mode, and then our automatic and manual mode, and our sport mode. So looking at some additional storage features, under the driver's seat here, there's additional storage with a net to keep your objects in there, as well as we've added a storage pocket on the full coverage doors with a net and a cup holder that's available at each door.
There's also center-mounted dual cup holders with rubber flanges front and rear. Additional in-cab storage is provided by a passenger side glove box and a small open area in the center of the dash. The Talon's cargo bed can hold up to 299 pounds.
Yeah, so for this 1000R4, we put it through a lot of R&D. Also, we put it in our race programs to prove out its durability. So this thing will be coming to your dealer soon, so please check it out.
I'm Jeff Proctor, team principal of Honda Talon Factory Racing. We're here with our 4P Talon Endurance desert race machine. And really, racing for Honda is vital to the future trajectory of where they're going. It's important for us to be able to collect data within some of the harshest environments in the world, be able to push that back to the engineers in Ohio and constantly improve the product that's being pushed to the general public. And I think that constant loop and feedback loop from engineers to us and us back to the engineers is so important for the health of any company that wants to progress in the sport of side-by-side.
Hey guys, my name is Elliot Watson and we are here at the Talon 1000R release here at Mid-America Outdoors, and I'm here representing the Raceco USA team. They're a big aftermarket parts supplier for the Honda Talon. When the Honda Talon came out, it jumped onto the factory Honda racing team in 2020. So from there, went on to win the Baja 1000 and was voted the 2020 Off-Road Driver of the Year by Duke Magazine. So pretty cool feat there.
Alright, hi, I'm Madison Everts. I am the 4-wheel PR coordinator for American Honda. Grew up off-road racing. My dad's been a race driver since before I was born. He's a 4-time sport champion. Grew up going to Mexico with my whole family. My brother and I are now racing alongside my dad. So motorsports is in our blood, and super excited to be working with Honda. Honda's all about family, and this new model is all about family, doing what you love together.
Driving the Talon R4 for us was Ed Texera, a former ATV desert racer and owner of Texera chassis components. Texera builds a number of high-end chassis components for side-by-sides. They're the innovators of the next level A-arms, which mount your lower shock mounts on the lower A-arms for better handling and suspension performance. Whether it's hot and humid as it was during our testing, or even on cold winter mornings, the fuel-injected Talon starts easily, warms up quickly, and is ready to hit the trail. While an engine with a narrow power band is acceptable on a car with a fully automatic, continuously variable transmission, Gearbox-driven cars benefit from an engine with a wide power band, making them far easier to drive, like the power curve found in the Talon. The engine's power is focused on the low end and mid-range. Strong low-end power not only helps on takeoffs, it makes the car much more manageable when negotiating tight technical terrain or steep hills. We lug the engine to near idle on some climbs, and the strong low-end torque and electronically controlled clutch make the engine stall-proof. The engine's best power is focused in the mid-range. That's where the engine pulls with its greatest authority and builds RPMs rather quickly. It accelerates hard enough to give you that feeling of being pushed back in your seat that you expect from a sports side-by-side. After its broad, usable low end and mid-range, the Talon goes a little flat on top before the rev limiter kicks in. Not a problem with the engine's broad, usable power curve. Spacing between the gears on the dual-range 6-speed transmission is very good, with no annoying gaps. In the transmission's automatic settings, normal mode lets the engine run a bit more quietly and saves on fuel. We found driving in automatic sport mode or manual mode to do the best job of keeping the engine running in the best part of the power. Compared to automatic's normal mode, we found the sport mode to work better on steep hills or anytime a little added RPM was of benefit. Even in sport mode, we have gotten the engine to fall on its face with an unwanted upshift on a steep dune. In those extreme conditions, manual mode does work best. On the sometimes steep wooded trails that we drove the X4 on, sport mode performed flawlessly. In automatic mode, you can always override what the transmission is doing with the paddle shifters, which we found extremely beneficial for engine braking into corners. As motoheads, we prefer precise control, so we spend a majority of our time shifting manually. The transmission responds quickly to input from the paddles, along with no manual clutch to babysit. The electronically controlled shifting lets you upshift without taking your foot off the gas. It is pretty fun and satisfying to stick the pedal on the floor and bang through the gears without lifting. The dual-range transmission really adds to the versatility and lets you get the most out of the Talon. While we could negotiate all of the trails that we drove in high range, we found it beneficial to drive in low range on tight to intermediate trails. It lowers the gearing, allowing you to more easily tackle steep, low-speed climbs, tightening up the gear ratios. It allows you to accelerate more quickly out of corners in an environment where you're constantly transitioning from the brake to the gas. Top speed in low range is high enough that you won't find yourself constantly wanting to switch to high range unless the trail really opens up. Running low range in tight sections reduces wear and tear on the clutch, in addition to the rest of the engine and drivetrain. Out west, in our testing of the Talon X4, we run high range a majority of the time. The dual-range transmission becomes an even bigger asset when adding larger tires to the Talon, which the vehicle really benefits from. We have found the Talon to shift into gear pretty predictably. However, we have heard of other people damaging their transmissions by not being patient and making sure the transmission is fully engaged before stepping on the gas. With the drivetrain's two-wheel drive and i4-wheel drive options, we've found i4-wheel drive to work pretty well on steep, loose, rocky climbs. You can feel the system through the chassis working to find traction. It does keep steering lighter than a differential lock while providing more traction than a limited slip front differential. Our only complaints with i4-wheel drive have come from previous testing on the Talon X4. i4-wheel drive utilizes the front brakes to transfer power from one front tire to the other. Between the i4-wheel drive and the demands of our driver, we managed to overheat the brakes on the X when driving on a tight woods loop at high speed for a prolonged period of time. Brake fade has never been an issue when testing on the West Coast or during our test of the Talon R4. The option of a front differential lock with i4-wheel drive would also be a welcomed addition. Handling manners on the R4 are very good. The front end steering accuracy was precise, whether we were in 2 or 4-wheel drive. It didn't seem to matter whether we were in the higher traction conditions found in the fields or in the loose rock-strewn trails found in the woods. With a new steering rack and updated power steering, we felt the steering remained light and consistent. It filtered out any unwanted kickbacks to the steering, while leaving you feeling connected to how the car was interacting with the trail. Test driver Aaron Meyer complained of some pushback when straightening out from power slides in his Talon X4. This seems to have gone away with the Talon's updated steering. The wider Talon R4 never seemed to want to lift a tire. although it seems to have a bit more body roll and weight transfer in high-speed corners or on tight hillside trails. With the added stability provided by the car's additional width, the additional weight transfer is of benefit when setting up for corners. The added wheelbase of the 4-seater keeps the car well planted on steep climbs and descents, and makes it more stable at high speeds. The steering rack and A-arm changes have added up to maneuverability that makes the 4-seat Talon pretty manageable in tight spaces. Driver error caused the only 4-point turn we needed to make over 2 days of testing. Without time to adjust the shocks preload, we found their overall performance to be good, although somewhat compromised by the 28-inch tires. Normal mode does better at eating up the smaller bumps that you encounter at lower speeds in tight woods, although in the tighter, more rutted sections. We found ourselves running sport mode a majority of the time, as it keeps the car riding a little higher in the travel, improving ground clearance, in spite of the ride being slightly harsher. At the intermediate pace that we ran in most of the field sections, we found it beneficial to switch the shocks to their normal mode. This did well at taking the edge off square-edged bumps. We know from previous testing in other Talon models that switching from the stock 28-inch to larger 32-inch tires is an absolute game changer. Larger tires help smooth out small bumps, and taller sidewalls are less prone to pinch flats. Larger tires raise the car, making you less dependent on sport mode for ground clearance, allowing you to more easily take advantage of normal mode's flusher ride. Since the engine and dual-range transmission can easily cope with 32-inch tires, they're our #1 upgrade for almost any Talon owner. In addition to offering decent small bump compliance, the Fox Live Valve shocks offered plenty of bottoming resistance for our ride-along on the short course. We launched the car over a number of jumps and never felt the suspension run out of travel. The 4-wheel hydraulic disc brakes offer excellent feel at the pedal. Traditionally, our test riders have been satisfied with the Talon's braking power. Ed is our one driver who's wished the Talon had a bit more braking power. Our publication's overall general consensus has been that the Talon's brakes are good. The interior of the Talon is pretty comfortable. The new full coverage doors were a win for the Talon. They prevent water from being splashed in where the lower doors used to be open, and they close tightly, preventing unwanted rattles. For stock spec, the seats were pretty comfortable and feature pass-throughs for 4-point harnesses. Honda seems to have borrowed a little bit of room from the front seat occupants to make the rear seat occupants more comfortable. 6-foot-tall occupants can fit in the cockpit pretty comfortably front or rear. The feeling of the ride quality in the back seats may be even more comfortable than it is in the front. The adjustable front passenger grab handle could be the best in the business. The adjustable seat and tilt steering help the driver get comfortable in the machine. The digital instrument display isn't the flashiest in the industry, but it does an adequate job. A roof is something that should come standard on every side-by-side in our opinion. Unfortunately, like all the other Talons, the R4 is equipped with a nice one. When it comes to onboard storage, our only real complaint with the machine is the lack of a bedside wall on the back of the bed, although it does help when looking out the back of the car. In conclusion, compared to the Polaris RZR XP4 1000 Sport at $24,999, or the Can-Am Maverick X3 Max DS Turbo at $25,099, the $25,799 Honda Talon 1000R4 Fox Live Valve Edition seems pretty well appointed for the price, especially when you factor in that it comes with a roof, the electronically controlled Fox Live Valve suspension, and Honda's virtually undisputed reputation for quality. Once again, it seems that Honda has a winner on their hands with a Talon 1000R4. Whether you're looking to build a race car capable of winning the Baja 1000, or a versatile, reliable sport machine for the family. To learn more about the 2023 Honda Talon 1000R4 and their full line of side-by-sides and ATVs, visit HondaPowersports.com. If you're looking for more reviews of the Honda Talon, we have tests of all of the Honda Talon models. Make sure you don't miss any of our upcoming side-by-side tests and shootouts by subscribing to UTV On Demand. Thanks for watching.